What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good day. Glad to be back on the canvas. If I get to sit down and paint, that's a good day, automatically. Hopefully you can hear my voice good and the music volume is good. Wish I was able to have a monitor to know how it sounds in your end. Alright. Gotta get going right away here. I had to work till like 6 or 7 last night and then cooked dinner. And then before I knew it, it was 9:30 plus and I had to play a little Path of Exile. And then bed called soon after that, so we're right where we left off on the last stream. I'm gonna get out a new sponge here. This painting's getting close. I'm having fun with how it's going, so a few things I want to work out still. Let's see here. Yo, Daniel, what's good? What's up, Stephanie? Good to see y'all here. Hopefully this doesn't cause too much microphone noise. Can y'all still hear me with the microphone there? Let me know. Forgot to do one thing that I promised. Just gonna take me a second. Easy to forget these little things, you know? Go about your day and the next thing you know, you forgot. See. There's never a better time to do it than now, right? Hey, what's going on, Mark? Yes, this is Watercolor. My favorite. And sometimes there's a little mix in of a touch of gouache in there. But if I had to give you a ratio, I like to keep it like 80-20. Like 80% watercolor, 20% gouache. And if I can achieve the whole thing in watercolor, then even better. And it's not that like either or is bad, it depends on what effect I'm going for. The type of painting, basically. Let's see here. Hopefully this webcam won't be an ass like it was being last time. I realized that so much of what I'm explaining is happening on the palette and y'all just don't get to see it. Figure out a way to pull. Oh, I remember what it did. There we go. Maybe I didn't remember. Oh, there we go. I gotta get myself a new microphone that's like more crystal clear. I was listening back to my stream the other day. And it's definitely a little like fuzzy. It's not the best. I mean, rightly so. It was like a $30 Amazon microphone that I bought like 5 years ago. So yeah. Let's see. I think it would be, yeah, there we go. Will it work? Hey! Now the question is, where is it on the screen? Oh, it's right here. Yeah, palette cam, let's go. Alright, hold on. Probably above chat right there would be good. I know it's small, but let's see. I have to flip it. Looks great. Different from most watercolor I've seen. Thanks, man. Basically, the way to explain it is like, I really love how acrylic and oil paintings look, but I like working with watercolor more. So it's like I try to achieve a like acrylic oil look with watercolor because it's like I like the look of those two, but I don't like working with them, if that makes sense. I started on acrylic. I painted with acrylic for years, and then I started playing around with gouache and watercolor, and I immediately got hooked, and then had to blow hundreds of dollars on a whole nother medium and all the different, because it's different brushes, it's different palette pans, it's different supplies, like all around for each medium. Because oil, you need to get like the linseed oil, right? And then all the, you know, it's like paint thinner, pretty much. That's especially why I don't like oil, because because of the chemicals. Let's see here. Transform. Flip vertical. There we go. Oh, and then I have to have it above this. Nice. Eh, it was kind of already in the right spot, huh? Probably get it closer here. I have like all Jimmy rig shit. Like my whole studio is the equivalent of having like everything duct taped together. Alright, so that's how I see my palette. You're seeing what I'm seeing now. Now actually, where's my chat here? Oh yeah, you know what? I don't even have to move chat. I can just rotate it. This is why I started a half an hour early. I don't know if you guys noticed in Discord, by the way, I moved the stream schedule hours 1 hour later. I realized after working on Tuesday that it was like cutting it a little tight, a little close, and that 1 extra hour is I think this is the sweet spot. So flip or rotate 90 degrees. There we go. That's what I want to. I don't have like a completely blowing up chat all the time, so. And then I come here, do filters, crop, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so left, what, 100? Yeah, maybe 120? Okay. Right, 120 again? No, more. 150? 60, 90? Okay, that's pretty close. I guess I'll do 200 on 150 on this side. Basically just typing in the amount of pixels I want it to crop. I'm a perfectionist. Alright, there you go. It's a good way to hold tool on stream so that you can like, because not always you get the camera in the right spot. Planning ahead, that is, yeah. Are you talking about watercolor? Like how you have to plan ahead with it? Or are you talking about work? Your comment came in a little late, so you send a comment, I probably see it like 10 seconds, 15 seconds later. I actually get it on my chat screen. Color source. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate this bad boy here. Let's see. Copy. Paste duplicate. As you can see, it's not that bad of a setup. Only takes a few minutes. Alright, block that. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. Huh. How y'all doing today? How you doing today, Steph? How's Arizona? How's it treating you? I clicked the wrong one. There we go, I have one right here. Oh, that's not even what I need. I'm going to go chat here. You having your apple juice out by the pool? The mic might sound a little farther away right now because of where I am. It's actually good my watercolor kind of sits for a second and gets activated. Gets pissed. Gotta wait till my watercolor gets pissed. Oh, I can just crop chat. So good. To the top. So what does that do? Oh, it did make it shorter. Okay. 400. 600. Ooh, 650. There it is. That's the size. It's only so much screen real estate, guys. There you go. I just didn't want the chat going over the palette because that looked obnoxious. Alright. There we go. Look at that. 4:55. 5 minutes before I was supposed to start. Alright, what do I want to attack first here? I'm gonna fix my grass in the back. Basically, I had a water drop of doom. These new watercolor sponges too, when you get them, they like come really flat, but then once you use them for a minute, they swell up and get paint all over them. You can wash one over and over again and recycle them, but I just haven't taken that one to the sink, and I don't feel like walking away from the camera just for that right now, so I'm just gonna start a new one. Alright, oh yeah, I got a palette cam now. I forgot for a second. Arizona's awesome. Friend Tom is coming out next week. We're going to spend a couple days up around the Grand Canyon. Oh yeah, you mentioned that. That's so sick. Yo, tell Tom to get me a photo that I can paint, man. I love painting other people's photographs sometimes, and he takes a lot of great pictures. It'd be great to paint one of them. See if you can get me like a super moody like landscape shot, and maybe we can like throw a little fantasy into it, you know? Like I'll paint his landscape, but then I can throw like little spice, you know? Yeah, I would love that too. That'd be fun. We can make it the next painting idea, or you know, one of the next ones. Some of these watercolors too that I like to do are they have to do with practicing. It's good to ask yourself like, what are you painting for? Who are you painting for? It can be for a cause, it can be for somebody, it can be for a personal reason. And I like to have that in my head before I sit down and paint. It really helps with the direction of things. And right now I'm just wetting my watercolors more. Quite get there. And I'm gonna lift my light up here a bit more. I finally got a better art light, and it has been so much better, let me tell you. Move it out here. I need more light on my palette, that's the problem. Knocks my camera a little. Alright. Oh my god, I honestly... Ply was thinking about exactly that. Ply was thinking about exactly that. Oh yeah? Like the fantasy touch thing? It's awesome. I don't like to paint things exactly. From studying from a photo or practicing, I like to kind of use the photo reference for like a guide, a learning guide, and then basically add my own swing to it if I can. Keep spacing. What am I trying to click here? Here we go. I'm gonna brighten that up, don't worry. Cameras, there we go. Don't you worry. I have a remote for this thing. There we go. Oh, that's right, I can turn it warm. That's the other cool thing about this art light. See that? I can change the temperature. Oh, that was the wrong button. Look at that. Temperature. Not dope. I really prefer to paint in warm light, and it's because there you go, that's probably a bit better. It's easy on the eyes. So like when you're working on something for multiple hours at a time, it can really grind my eyes out of my skull if it's like bright blue LED. Alright, my watercolors would probably get going at this point. But I've been trying to find a 75 plus pan watercolor palette, and they don't really exist. And it's not even so much that I need like that much color choice, it's just that like I want a place to store them all that I can just access quickly without having to get them out of the tube. So right here in my palette I have I kind of reserved this well for the greens. And so I kind of mix a lot of greens here. I mix greens over here and here, but this is like the main greens here. And I'm gonna add a little bit of red. That was a little bit much, a little bit more blue. I want this green to be a bit grayed out, so that's what the red is for. Basically, whatever primary you don't have in your color. If like, for example, if you have a color that's made up of primarily two primaries, and you add the third missing one, that's gonna neutralize it. And I got my test paper here. It's hard not to fantasy touch everything, to be honest, Steph. Need a little bit more blue in here. Toss a little bit more cyan. Cayenne. Cayenne pepper. And the thing is, I don't want to darken this right here. I just kind of want to fix where the water drop happened, which it's gonna get darkened anyway, so I might as well accept it. Add a little more water. And it'll always dry lighter than that. I'm gonna take the liberty to add a little bit of green in between the rocks here. I want the grass to overlap onto the stone pathway a little bit. Looks a little too perfectly trimmed there. It's those little thoughts and details that take a while at this stage of the painting to finish things up. And I want this to be the shadow green color, because this is in shadow, so I don't really have to mix a different green, because it's also in the background close enough to where that atmospheric perspective is happening as well. I also don't like that this is a perfectly straight horizon thing here, so, or layer edge I should say, it's not the horizon. And I can see I started breaking this edge up a little bit, but I never finished. This ain't the ideal brush, but I already had it going, so you call a short round brush. It's short and round. I find that the short round is my favorite kind of round brush, and the reason why is because I find for what I use round brushes for, mostly the long or the normal round brush holds a little bit too much water, and I feel like the tips wear out on it in this certain way that I don't like. But the thing is that I like my detail brushes to be more on the dry brush side. But like for a super fine detail, I like the normal round, but a smaller one. Like what's this? A 4? Yeah, 4. Like that's really what I like round brushes for. You can see how small this painting is too. Just for the sake of stream and setup, it's about the length of this brush here. 7 inches by 10 inches. I don't know if they're counting the perforated edge, but it would really be amazing to combine. I can't talk. It would really be amazing to combine Tom's photography in your art. I already want it. Yes. Looking forward to it. Even better if he can send me, or whatever, whoever sends him, you or him, a selection. Like if I could have like 4 or 5 to pick from. If I could find a, or not find, have a list of them. I just want to throw in the suggestion of a little shrubbery here. Nothing too crazy. A lot of these background elements are already finished for the most part. And edges are very important, meaning where a major shape meets the edge of another major shape. Edges in general, but your major shapes are more important than your minor shapes. Crazy story, yesterday, on the way home from work, my girlfriend was already home, and apparently there were 3 fugitives on the run, and they were like right in the neighborhood, and they got home, there was a helicopter, there was a bunch of cops driving around, and apparently two weren't armed and one of them was armed. And for a minute, they only caught 2 of them, and they were telling everyone to like lock their doors and be careful and stuff. But You know, they caught them in the long story short, they caught them and everything's all fine and dandy, but that was definitely interesting. That's definitely not your everyday occurrence. I find different ways to tap my brush, make it do different things. I actually like the idea of this land moving up a little bit there. It's not so flat. And there we go, looking a little fuzzier. We could totally make that happen in the street. Probably get a painting in before that one. I'm gonna come over with the number 4 round here, and I keep forgetting you can see the palette now. So actually the color on the palette's a bit bad, huh? I can fix that up actually. Take 2 seconds. Deltas. Color correction. And let's see, I think bring down the contrast a little bit, it helped. And let me see. A little more saturation. Right about there. That's what I'm seeing. That's what the camera's seeing. That's what I'm seeing. It's always a little bit less saturated and a little less vivid. It doesn't need more brightness. And I think that's good. There we go. A little bit more readable on the colors. Realized they were a little washed out. Lauren, what's up? Like Sophia's friend Lauren, right? I'm not familiar. I think I'm right. Lauren Marie seems familiar. Thank you though. Appreciate it. Trying to hopefully finish this one up today. I got 2 hours, so see what happens. It's good to be streaming again. Could help me to plug in my hair dryer or heat gun, whatever you want to call it. And I'm bringing a little bit of yellow into the green here to essentially color wiggle. You want to kind of, especially for realism, sort of wiggle the color hue around a little bit, or color choice, not so much the hue. So like, especially in wild grass, because it's not like you're painting a golf course where all the grass looks the same. Oh, you know what? Forgot to press record. I'm notorious for that. Can't tell you how many of my time lapses I've uploaded to where there's just a big skip in the middle of it because I can't remember. Press record 20% of the time. Remaking more green here. I ran out of paint in my palette. And I'm using Prussian blue primarily to give like a shadowed grass color with like the smallest touch of red. Especially if it goes out in the distance, because it benefits to gray it out a little bit, brown it out, whatever you want to call it. Alright. I want to get back to a little bit of the grass in front of this fence here. When I did it the first time, it was too transparent, and B, there was still like some fence details I had to work out, so I had to paint back over it again. And haven't made my way back to it yet. I tend to jump around a lot, and that's a preference thing. For me, I find it helps me balance the painting more if I don't spend too much time on one little spot. And I don't want to get to every grass blade here, but that's often why I'll often leave a part of the painting behind for a while. And honestly, it helps with like boredom, if that makes sense. It like makes it more fun to kind of change up which parts of the painting I'm working on at any given time, because it's almost like if you could divide the painting up into 6 little mini paintings that are all put together. So you know, you could sit there for 2 hours drawing blades of grass, and it's like, sick of these blades of grass right now, I want to go work on the tree, you know, or whatever works for any subject. And just giving some due attention to some of this grass here. Get some of its shadow going. This is like super sun-kissed grass right here, so I want to be careful. I don't want to go over the highlight too much. I just want to get right in the crevice here, just to give it a little bit more dimension. This turned out to be a more involved painting. And for those of you that have been watching the channel for a while and have been through many episodes of Drawing of the Day, you know how it can vary greatly depending on the subject. Interesting, 3 people watching on X. Never normally have anyone watching on X. Good to see you here. I'm not even sure, does X let you comment on live streams yet? I feel like X is still very primitive. Formerly Twitter, when you hear me say X. Pretty primitive in the streaming front, but in due time I'm sure they'll catch up, clean things up. It's just the only other platform. I get to stream to 4 channels at once with a restream, so I'm streaming to YouTube right now, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter or X. And figured I had an open slot, and I figured Twitter was the one to fill it. So it's still hard to program my brain to say X, because I just feel like, especially if I'm trying to be relatable and talk to other people, that still, if you're like 30 years old or younger, you think of it as X. I mean, Twitter. Or maybe like 40 years old and younger. I feel like anyone like 50 and up had to like learn about social media and stuff later in life. Alright, I'm gonna keep chilling on this grass. I'm gonna bring some over here. It's a bit dark. I'm gonna bring some yellow into it, just lighten it a hair. I'm actually gonna lighten it with the lemon yellow, because lemon yellow is a little more towards blue. It's a little cooler. And it's a good way to stay in the theme of things. It's easier to break colors down into warm or cold, and how warm or cold one is. And its ratio. It helps me make decisions. So like, because this grass is in shadow right here, it would be beneficial for me to use a green or yellow to lighten it. And there's two ways you can say that. You can say green or yellow or blue or yellow if you want to talk in pure primaries. But both make sense. Just like you can have a reddish blue or a greenish blue. Those are two very different blues that do very different things, and they react very differently depending on what you're mixing with them. And having this green a little less blue here is especially a good choice because it's more in the foreground, and it's going to just stand out from the already blue shadow a little bit more. Any sort of these little ways that you can like pull out contrast, even in little tiny ways, can really go a long way. It's still something I experiment all the time. Like a great artist that I follow, can't think of his name off the top of my head. One thing he always says is to try to alternate dark and light in your painting, and not so like square, but like, you know, the better you can hide it, the better. But basically to sort of have like a dark, a light, a dark, a light, and kind of implement that anywhere you can. So like for example, like right here I have the sky, very light, right, white, and then dark tree, and then light blue bush, and then dark tree, and then light netch glowing blue jelly, and then dark grass, then light sun. So like that's what I mean, like, and it really helps separate everything. It was one of those things that when I started doing it, it like improved my art overnight. There's a lot of those little like one-liner things that can level you up if you start implementing them right away. So that's why I've been so fixated on getting big shapes right. So a lot of times I'll have like a spare watercolor piece of paper off to the side and just use it to dab off a slight amount of water. Often like a fresh dip of the brush, it's a little bit too much water. This color's a bit saturated for here, but it's so tiny. I just want to see if it makes it look good. I'm always sort of experimenting too. Not everything is so planned and known. Like, don't always know exactly what's gonna happen. Often I do, and the more you do it, the more often you do, but yeah, I like those little ambient occlusion corners there. It doesn't hurt to just grab a little blade sometimes off to the side. But the thing is, like, if you look at grass far away, you don't see every single blade. If you like really look. I'm just fixing the music there. Paused for some reason. Sorry if my computer fans are loud. It's just it's a feature of my laptop. Gaming laptop equals loud fans. Okay, I don't want to overdo it there. I'm gonna come back to the cracks in the rock here. My voice just cracked. Something I immediately realize about myself when I start streaming again is that I don't talk this much. Like, I realize constantly talking is not something that happens in my life unless I'm on stream. I'm gonna bring a little bit more of the cadmium yellow into a little spot here. Tell you, don't paint under a watercolor fan. Don't paint under a fan like I do. It dries out everything so quick. Grab a little bit of my Prussian blue. Prussian blue is a good example. It's great for making like a very rich, straightforward green because it already has yellow in it. So the yellow doesn't have to work as hard to make that green. The blue meets it halfway there. I guess that's another good way of thinking of it. And because this green is more in a warmer type of sunlight, it was calling for the cadmium yellow. Alright. Put a little bit here. These little foliage bundles help break up little edges too. I like putting them in places where maybe a corner meets weird, or maybe you didn't quite enjoy how your lines came out. There we go, that looks good. I like how that comes in between the rock there a little bit. Suggests more that it's on the edge of the lawn and not just sort of perfectly trimmed. Sort of get used to the direction of light to dark after a while. Depending on how complex your subject is. It can change, but overall, if you just reserve a light in large shapes where you know it's going to be, you don't have to get too crazy with like exactly where you're going to have every little light spot. That's where gouache can come into. Not many people like to use gouache, or not everyone likes to use gouache. That's what I meant to say. But I do. I think they go hand in hand. They're like best friends. And so these rock plants, or whatever you want to call them, are going to be closer to the water. If you look in real life, you'll see that like the farther you are from the edge, the less they're growing. Oh man. Hope the yawns didn't start. And this yellow or green actually looks fine down here. That's the beauty of transparents. Is this is acrylic, I would have had to go add mix another green blue, but because there's some dark shadowy blues here, and that this green is still transparent enough to let some of that blue through, it ultimately makes a blue-green for me, right there on the spot. No mixing required. Canvas mixing, or mixing on the painting as I go, is increasingly my favorite way to mix the colors. I try to actually make that happen as often as I can. Now I'm going to mix myself a darker green here on the side. I try to lay things out in gradients on my palette, especially in puddles. I mean, with watercolor it's a little bit harder because the water likes to blend itself, but in general, like, you know, for example, in my green well here, I'm having the yellower greens on this side and the bluer greens, darker greens on this side. It's just kind of a habit I developed. I used to be all willy-nilly and just kind of put it anywhere on my palette, but I realized it helps me to not do that all the time. I'm gonna add a little bit of Payne's Gray, which is sort of like a dark bluey purpley gray. Sometimes I have to remind myself, like, what does Payne's Gray look like alone? It's gonna be dark. There's Payne's Gray, like that. Let me see if I add a bunch of water to it. So you can see it's pretty neutrally gray. But if you look closely, there's a lot of colors around it, so it's not helping your eyes, but if you look closely, it's slightly slightly blue, purple almost. So I like Payne's gray for like keeping it neutral, but still not completely destroying the blue. Like it helps. It's like you could get the same result with black, but I think what happens with black is it sucks the saturation out faster than Payne's gray, and Payne's gray is plenty dark for most applications. There's not many things that are like pure black, unless you're in like the crevice of a rock. Like over here, I did some really dark, almost pure black spots, but they're still not pure black. Still 3 people watching on X. Wonder if that's y'all over Florida. The only thing I could imagine. Because y'all follow me. Oops, I like accidentally clicked. Alright. Sometimes it even helps to let the palette dry slightly and then dip your brush. You don't get too much water. That'd make it even darker. But see, now I'm losing a bit of the green, so I gotta grab a little bit of paint, a little bit of Prussian, and let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's more what I'm looking for, but actually a little bit more green. Okay. Dab out my brush slightly. Tap it on the sponge a few times, which is basically I just do that a couple times and drag it to maintain the tip of the brush. Keep good brush health. And basically try not to go too crazy here and just add right up on the foreground on these grass plants. A little bit 2-color dimension to them. I don't want them to be too sharp. I want them to still be suggestive. The sharpest thing I want is like the Bull Netch in the cabin and sort of like the river that takes your eyes out through the painting. That was also another part of the design, is to try the S curve composition archetype is one article was calling it. There's all these different shapes you can hide and paths you can hide in the way things that are laid out, and basically it's about secretly guiding the person's eye around the painting. I have to be careful. I have this tremendous flick with my dip hand where I constantly put water drops on my painting on accident. I'm gonna stop and start the new recording. What are you using the super vivid pinks and purples and blues on your test paper? So that was me just playing with paint, essentially. I was just seeing how certain things mixed. Actually, if you're trying to be a painter, it's beneficial to just sort of take a blank piece of paper and play around with different colors mixing. I was basically looking at like what would act as a better red, but they're not for any sort of painting. Hold on, I just gotta answer this message quick. Wow, I can't type right now. Okay, there we go. The love is on her way home. I just had to let her know I already made the dinner in the fridge. Yeah, I was prepared for. I cooked dinner before I streamed, so I don't have to rush myself off. You made the big time. I just had to watch an ad. Yeah, the big time. Oh, jeez. Sorry about the ads on Twitch. I know subscribing turns them off, but I don't expect anyone to subscribe. I always tell people, if you don't like watching through the ads and you don't want to like watch the ads for free, you can just go over to YouTube, Facebook or YouTube or X. All three of those. I haven't made the big time on there yet, so no ads. I mean, I might as well just turn them off on Twitch. I literally don't make anything. It's almost not even worth making people watch them at all. But good to see you, Bill. What's up, man? Good to see you here. Appreciate you hopping in. I often lurk on your video game streams. I'm not always in a place to type, but I'll watch them and open them. Can't believe that's already dry right there. It's crazy. It's the fan. I know it is. But I need that airflow. I'll watch 2 hours of ads for you, buddy. Aw, bro. That warmed my heart. I'd watch 2 hours of ads for you too, brother. Get you your 14 cents. Yeti emojis. I forgot I have those for a second. My whole like widget game and emoji game on Twitch ain't that strong, cause I don't know. I guess I just have a hard time getting into the emoji making. But one of these days I'll revamp and make some. Now, if you want to make a really sunny green, lemon yellow and cyan blue. Make a really vivid green. And luckily watercolor ain't too crazy thick, so if your palette's dirty, you can kind of just overpower whatever there normally. Unless you got thick piles of gouache like over here. But take some of that lemon yellow, some of this cyan, you can see. Makes that sort of like emerald green. And the reason for that is because, like I was saying earlier, the lemon yellow has more blue in it. Or more green in it, whichever way you like to say it. You know, it's kind of like, do you want to say, it's kind of like the same thing as me, like, do you want to say B flat or A sharp, you know? You can say bluish yellow or greenish yellow, it's the same thing. Oh yeah, nice, been doing it randomly. Yeah, I have like your bell thing for notifications turned on, so like literally every time you stream, it pops up on my phone. Often what'll happen is I'll be delivery driving and I'll see it pop up and I'll just like toss it on the speaker and watch it for a little bit while I'm driving or chilling waiting for a delivery. But I know you're Mr. Silent Streamer, so yeah, for anyone that likes watching some games, go follow Bill Bass in the chat on Twitch. Show him some love. He's a pro rank 1 Starfield streamer. Professional frisbee golfer too. Throws aces every hole. Not to mention the best bass player I know. Best bass player I know. Indeed. Not just being nice. Shit's for real. Bill always makes everyone in the room look bad because he's too good. Gotta say, man, I've been on the biggest hiatus from music in quite a long time. If anything, the longest. I don't know, I can't really pinpoint what it is other than just don't like lost my purpose in it temporarily. Like it's honestly been more fun to paint than just sit down and practice guitar. So maybe I attached it too much to performing or having a project or something. But yeah, I just really just haven't felt it. It's gonna happen from time to time. Try to throw in some different plants here. It happens up in there too, yeah. I just haven't touched it. And when I do, I'll try to sit down and I'm just like, I don't know what the hell, I don't know what song I want to learn. I don't know what, like, I don't even know what I want to practice. Like, I don't even know what technique I want to get better right now. You know? I've lost all the purpose and direction in it for a minute. Like, it's one thing being in a band and gigging and having that fire under your ass, but that doesn't matter either, because I played guitar for way longer than playing guitar while I was in a band. I think ultimately I enjoy being original on the guitar. Writing little 3-minute ditties. That's where it all started. Alright, let's see. Get me some try a color I haven't tried yet. It's called Sepia. Not even sure what kind of brown it is in the sense of like warm or cool, but it seems pretty neutral. Like it's sort of like a Van Dyke brown. Burnt umber. Oh, Van Dyke brown's real dark. Yeah, I'll toss a little spot of that on there. And the foreground colors can be much more pronounced. Sometimes it's nice if you have the pre-mixed colors to just put them kind of next to each other and let them all mingle. See. Oh, and the other thing, like I was saying earlier, it's good to mix the things, or I'm sorry, darken or lighten things with things that are the same. So like, to brighten or darken these, I would want to use the Van Dyke or like a raw sienna or yellow ochre. I think I'll lighten them with the raw umber though, because we're in the shadow. More neutral, and it will let me. See, that's not light enough. Probably more the raw sienna. Yeah, there we go. Keeps it rich. There we go. Talk about some color wiggle there. 5 different browns. I'm in a weird phase right now. Pretty disenchanted with Nashville in general. Yeah, I hear that, brother. And who knows what else? Things I can't even articulate right. Still practicing for me though. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I think another part to it too is like, me and Kirsten talk about this, is like it's hard to practice when someone else is in the house, or like if you don't have like a place to go shut the door and like kind of be private about it. Like, I don't know about you, but like when it comes to like playing the same exact line over and over trying to nail something, it's like I don't want to be doing that shit when other people are around, you know? It's the same with other things. Just letting all these browns mix in the middle here. I already have some lighter colors off to the right here that share a lot of the environment colors because I've already worked on mixing them. So you can see just by dragging some of these browns into over here into the blues, it's gonna give me a lot of variation. It's what I would call like the mature stage of the palette, where you don't have to remix everything all the time. You can almost just go to the areas in your palette that you knew you used for that spot in the drawing, and you already spent the time to work out a lot of the hue and saturation and blah blah. So that's about 10, 12 different, 20 different browns there, which I won't need. It's because I'm just not sure exactly what brown I want to see over here yet. And it's basically just going to happen here, kind of trickle into these rocks a little bit with the mud. But yeah, man, painting's been my practice of choice. Man, this thing always gets clogged. Here we go. Alright, I'm going to start with a very neutral one. And I'm going to darken it. Here's a spot where watercolor and gouache can be friends. I actually kind of like how the watercolor mixes with the gouache. I know, I don't want to just slap this right on. Add a little bit of Prussian blue to that actually. This is gonna have yellow and blue in it. Help darken and neutralize it. That's more what I'm looking for. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like that. It's like green, and I need it to be green because there's a lot of ambient light bouncing around inside the start grass. It's gonna take a minute to get this to where I need it though. I wanted to start peeking out and not really take over the grass till about here. So essentially I'm still in watercolor mindset, where I would consider this grass a lighter color that I'm trying to preserve. And also, for what it's worth, when you mix the watercolor with gouache, it sort of halves the transparency factor, which is pretty cool. So if you want to like have extreme control over that dial of saturation, or I'm sorry, transparency, it's a good way to turn it. So far, I mean, let a few months and 10-20 more paintings go by, and often techniques are subject to change. And I'm gonna kind of just toss in some spots like this. Your palette always reminds me of impressionistic art. It's very Monet. Yeah, sometimes because of the way I lay it out and kind of segregate different areas of the painting throughout the palette, it often it's almost like I can look at my palette and like know which part of the painting is what. Okay, pretty happy with that. Now I know this is white gouache here. It doesn't look like it yet because it dried out. It has blue on top of it, but I'm gonna take a couple lighter shades of this brown, and what I want to do is fill in some rock shapes here. And often I work in both directions when it comes to like light or dark. But as I was saying earlier, I like to 80-20 when it comes to how much gouache versus watercolor. And the reason is because style choice wise, personally, I like when a painting looks smooth on its finish. Like right now I like how it looks flat, especially for taking pictures of it, or like if it's sitting on a wall and it has a lot of texture. I don't like how it can grab the sunlight too much. But what I've seen from and that's fine, like people love texture. Like when you see the people do the knife paintings and it's like, you know, the paint's this far off the canvas, but personally I like low texture. I like it to look almost like digital art, but traditional, like a smooth oil paint look. But I like to use the hardest medium to accomplish that, go figure, because I enjoy how it works. But I'm slowly figuring out my workarounds. And when you do from what I've seen, when you do a painting with pure gouache, it gets very thick very quick. And when I keep the ratio high for watercolor, it stays very smooth. So that's my reasoning. And essentially sketching these rocks in. I wanted to look like these rocks were coming from sort of a spot where you can walk down to the river, like if you were to collect some water with a bucket, or you were coming down to fish. Maybe this is a good time to give these rocks a little loving, some highlights on them. And here's where we can take in a little bit of this what is that, raw sienna? Raw sienna is very yellow, huh? Raw sienna, a little bit of raw sienna, mostly burnt umber Van Dyke brown here. I'm kind of letting all three of those mix together because I'm not trying to have an exact version of either one. And I'm just going to rub that into my light color palette right here. I want there to be a little bit of variation in my rock temperature, with the gray rocks being the majority and an occasional little warm rock being the minority. And let's see, let's toss in, let's make this a warm rock. Make that guy a warm rock. Because, you know, especially you, Steph, when you go look at rocks in nature, they're not all the same color. So cool, I love the palette cam. Yeah, it's ultimately needed because I realize I'm often off on my palette mixing and figuring out a color for 2 or 3 minutes at a time, and y'all can't see it, and it's part about, it's like 50% of the thing. And if I plan for this channel to be slightly educational, then that's a part that's important to see. Like I said last episode, as a painter myself, I love when an artist shows the palette. And these rocks are going to need some more of their ambient occlusion. Okay. I think what I can do is I can bring in, hey, what's up? Bring in maybe a little bit of yellow gouache now, just to make the grass highlights a little more opaque. And in the spirit of this paint tube almost being empty, I might as well just use this yellow. The palette is like its own little work of art. Yeah. To be honest, the reminds me of doing acrylic when you say that, because the acrylic palettes, they stay more in place, where like the watercolor, like it just moves over time before it dries. So it's like you can really see with the acrylic palette, it's like where you were in the painting. It'd be an interesting thought to actually like place everything in the palette where it is on the painting too. Alright, now I want to take this yellow here, and I should have put it down here, and just find a spot where I did the brighter yellow. And I already ran out of water entirely here. There we go. That's the other thing about gouache I forgot to mention, is it like absorbs water a lot more, where with watercolor the water goes a lot farther. Time for Marcy to meow. You guys heard yesterday. I'm surprised she hasn't yelled at the stream today, because that's normally how it goes. She thinks I'm talking to her. It's funny. And actually, in this case, because it's a super light color over a dark color, I'm gonna have to grab some of this linden green here. And let's see what that does. Linden green's like super bright yellow green. Man, the like base of the paint keeps coming out first, not giving me actual pigment. There we go. Probably gonna be a bit intense. Have to dial it back. That would be crazy. Then you have to sell a print of the palette with to go with the painting. Yeah, I forget if someone actually mentioned that idea before. Someone a while back that mentioned like, oh, you could sell the like, or no, it wasn't the palette, but it was like the test paper, like that I do off to the side. Grab some sap green gouache here. And this is purely for opacity reasons. Wow, that one had a lot of base on the front of it. I guess that's good for the first time you open it, but... It keeps coming out as the base. I guess I'm just going to squeeze a big amount of it just to like get rid of that in the tube. I'm not going to use that much, but... Alright. Slowly bring that in. Somewhere around these colors I want. I also find gouache to give it a bit more literal of a color. It's like the transparency of watercolor, it communicates with everything else in the painting a lot better. I'll grab a little bit of this Prussian blue. Just toss that in there a little bit. See how that does. And also not too much water here. Basically, there's not enough variance in greens right here. So I'm trying to just diversify, particularly on the edge where it meets the dark grass. Yeah, it's not opaque enough yet. I gotta get more of the yellow again. This primary yellow is very transparent. That's one thing you'll see on the scale of like pigments when you're shopping for paints, is you'll go through the list and you'll see that some will say they're more opaque and some will say they're more transparent, and it's subtle, but the more I've used different pigments and different colors, I realize which ones are like crazy opaque. Definitely noticeable. Like for example, like all purples are like super opaque. Like crazy opaque. Just naturally, there's just something in that color that nature's just like, oh, I'm covering everything. And then you learn that like which colors to take it easy on and which ones to add more of through that. Alright. Very easy to overdo it here. Thing is, I already know that that is not opaque enough even yet, again, because once it dries it'll be lighter, but I'll add a few anyway. Especially in that spot there where there's some white paper left over. Ideally you get this with the watercolor first, but this sunspot in the grass, it's just lacking a little bit of yellowness, which I think it really brings the warmth of the sun. Warmness. Again, don't want to overdo it. It's Bob Ross used to do a thing on his episodes. It always made me laugh, and basically he'd get to the highlights and he'd get all excited. Oh, this is my favorite part, and you know, but he'd always be like, oh, but you gotta be careful. You can get too excited and ruin the whole thing. And he's so right, because the highlight is the fun part, and the dopamine rush of adding cool highlights everywhere can go too far, to where you just add it on everything, and now suddenly you step back and every single thing in your painting has the same exact color highlight and it looks wrong. And it's something I had to make the mistake of over and over and over again until I snapped out of it finally. To train yourself, you can even do like little self challenges while you're painting, like you're not allowed more than 4 marks without changing the color slightly or something. And then once it becomes habit, you don't have to play mental games with yourself anymore. So I do like how the plant here is like very silhouette-y, but I don't want all of it that silhouette-y. And also, the other thing I'm trying to solve here is the sunspot in the grass is a little too square where I want a little bit of bleed. Just because if you think, right, this is coming, this highlight is coming from a spot in the leaves of the canopy where it's letting sunlight through, and I'm sure it's happened once or twice in nature, but there's usually not perfectly rectangle shapes in tree canopy negative space. So usually, like on this top of this roof here, it's like a good example, or like right here on this patio. And what happens is, see if I can explain this the right way. So when you have a beam of light coming through something very far away, it sort of gives, so the edges of the shadow get like a camera unfocusing effect, if that makes sense. So it's like if the hole that's making your light beam is 50 to 100 feet away, the edges of that are going to be really soft. So you can tell it's leaves, but if you like really look at it and you look like where the leaf is in the shadow, the edges of it are extremely feathered. And that gets sharper and sharper as the closer the object that's making the light beam gets to the ground or wherever it's getting casted. So if you move the hole in that tree right down to the ground 6 inches away and then shine the sun through that, you'd see the perfect silhouette of the leaves. You'd see the hairs coming off the leaf in the shadow. But the farther that goes away, the fuzzier it is. And it's a little bit more challenging to do that in grass just because of the nature of grass. It's gotta kind of take your time with it. Because there's also a sort of gradient happening with the grass blades, the way they interrupt the light everywhere. And I think it would be cool. This is a decision I'm making right now, that these rocks and mud right here, just a little spot, just a couple of these rocks are gonna catch the sun, as well as the little grass bits. Just basically, I put this light spot here to sort of remind myself, like, okay, that's where I want a major sunbeam, but I didn't ultimately plan out the exact shape of it yet. I kind of knew, and you know, these are things you can decide with more experience, but like I knew because it was so far into the foreground that I could paint over whatever I did before it. Things that are in the background or midground get a little bit more complicated because you have to kind of map them out correctly, but foreground is usually involving like putting it on top of whatever you painted, and that works out with gouache, of course. Now I'm gonna come back to my browns that I was mixing over here. Activate a little more of this. I think this is white gouache here. And here's where some nice burnt sienna is going to come in. I'm not sure if it's opaque enough. So I don't even want too much of that color. A little bit of white. I've done some studies in like trails in the woods where the sun's coming out of the trees, hitting the dirt, and what's cool about digital art is you can take the color picker and you can zoom in and be like, what is that color right there specifically on that one pixel? And you can learn a lot from that. And a lot of these dirt colors are actually light grays, different variants. And so right here, this is where the sun's hitting the dirt. But just a little bit. If anything, it wouldn't really hit it right there as much as it would a little bit farther out from that grass, because the grass is going to be casting a shadow as well. And when you're this close up, you kind of have to work out everything for the most part. Don't want it to come out too far. We have the grass here getting hit. And remember, it always dries darker. Lighter colors dry darker, and darker colors dry lighter. It's a good rule of thumb to have in your head. Always remember that. Unless you like really glob the paint on there and it's like super pure, but it's still gonna change when it's dry. If you take the paint right out of the tube, it'll be a little different after it dries. Let's see. A little spot there. There we go. Now it kind of looks like the sun's hitting the dirt a little bit, doesn't it? It's a little spot there. Okay. And I think right here is where we can bring a little bit more of the grass. Not the brightest color, but near it. Kate, what's going on? Yay, Kate made it. What's good? I remember I tagged you in Discord. I was like, does Kate still exist? What's going on? I hope you've been well. We've kind of dove into a painting I've already been working on, but having fun with it, so it's all good. Check something here. I'm getting some strange shenanigans on the back end on the YouTube side, so I just want to make sure everything is A-okay. Strange shenanigans on the back end on the YouTube side, so I might not have made it public on accident. Oh no, that would suck. No, because I feel like there was a couple people that hopped in on YouTube. I'm still here. I like the creatures in this painting. Yay for Kate still being here. By the way, we're streaming every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 5 to 7 now. That's the schedule that I'm starting back up with. Take it from there. Okay, good. The stream is public. Like, that'd been tragic. Miss out on all that. Engagey. So, we got about 20 minutes left here. So glad you hopped in before it was too late. A little bit more strict these days, just with trying to up my game on time management and make sure I have enough to cook dinner and spend time with the love and have some me time and also paint, also stream. We'll go to say we won't have one of those, 10-hour bangers, but can't have them every time. Maybe in times of great wealth. I just have so much money I'm sitting on that I can just sit on my ass and paint all day. We'll definitely do some more of that. The creatures in this painting, so I'll give you a little explanation here. They're called Netches, and there's male and female versions. You have Bull Netch and Betty Netch. They're from the game The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Well, the Elder Scrolls universe, and they weren't in the painting originally, but I got to a certain point in this painting and I was like, man, I could totally picture Netches float around. But basically they're like if a turtle, a jellyfish, and a bird had a baby, but the bird part's just because it can float, No, I guess it's the birds don't float. So yeah, just like a turtle and a jellyfish would then add the fact that they're air creatures, not like water creatures. And they have like, they're made out of like, they have like a hard shell on top and like jelly for their bellies. Jelly bellies. I kind of want to say the sun is hitting this from like this direction. So that's good to keep in mind with like how I'm doing these grass blades here. And I want to be subtle about this and very easy to overdo the water. Very easy. I just started watching someone who plays Skyrim. Nice. You've been getting into games? Hell yeah. Skyrim's awesome. I still play Skyrim. I think it's going on 13 or 12 years old now. But the thing is, they allow the player community to add to it. So that's why it still has so much replay value. Because for the last 12 years, rather than like, oh, here's the first version of the game, and then that's it, they opened up, I forget what it's called, it's like creator points or something. And you can spend money on like creative points or creator points. And basically, you're paying private creators that help make extra content for the game. And then they have like a higher tier of that content where the company themselves actually reviews it and like approves it as like official expansion stuff for the game. But outside of that, if you play on PC, there's like insane amount of mods. Like there's people that add their own expansions entirely to the game. But, you know, they tend to be buggy, and if they're not code checked by some good check and balance, but still it's dope. But that's why it's still alive. I want to switch and now I'm Fortnite. You want to switch? Wow. From what? Where did you win it from? Fortnite addict, huh? I could never get into it. There's just something about it. I love first person shooters, but not all of them. There's just something about Fortnite. Just doesn't hit right. Adding a little bit of blue here, but it got totally eaten up. Probably more of the Prussian blue that it needs. And no, that's not bright enough, but let's see what it does. You gotta try out Call of Duty Zombies. I don't know if you can get it on the Switch. I feel like Call of Duty's are like on everything. At least one of the things. Fortnite has creator mode and creator made islands. That's dope. It's third person and now there is zero build and reload. It's third person and now there is zero build and reload zero build. I'm not sure exactly, like as in you don't have to reload. Is that what you mean? This sunlight will make more sense too once I get the rocks lit up here. Alright, just gotta connect it a little more. Being careful to change my variant of green every 10 or 15 blades. And this really bright yellow is more for the spots that are getting hit by the sun, it's not the whole color of the blade. Another thing it's easy to do a mistake of is to make everything look young and like new growth. I mean, that's a certain look you can go for in a forest, but in the woods, everything is dying and constantly being reborn, so there's always at least one or two patches of grass that are in the phase of death and they're like brown or so. That's another thing worth keeping in mind for grass or large patches of grass is like there's at least 100 of them that just are starting to grow. There's 100 of them that are dying, 100 of them that are midlife crisis. I won it because someone felt bad for me. Because someone felt bad for you? So like, what do you mean, they gave it to you? Or like you... Wait, you have to explain that, because I don't know, that could mean a lot of things. I could analyze that into 5 different stories. I don't like building. Oh, zero build. I know what you're saying now. So you, without the like building the stupid towers that they run on and all that. Yeah, okay. Zero build a small island with the ability to spawn, losing all loot for 2/3 of the game. It was fast and fun. That actually sounds like a version of Fortnite I could enjoy. The building thing is definitely one of the turnoffs. It's like you run up and try to kill a dude and you're suddenly building this like weird tower house in front of you and you're trying to shoot through the panels and it gets all weird. So I'm gonna have to refresh a little white here on my palette and then also drop my brush in all the paint. That's the #1 step to painting, is drop the handle in directly into the wet paint. Helps out a lot. You'll see, just try it. And I'll put it here. Don't be afraid to let all the colors on your palette touch and mix together. You ever see some of those videos of how fast they build too? Like the pro rank 1 players. It just sounds like they're typing like an essay. And just like a house is appearing in front of them. Crazy. I watched a video of how they practice too, like before a Fortnite tournament, and man, that is some serious levels of commitment. And bring out my burnt sienna again. Bam. I always try to get the paint off, or keep the paint off the threads on these things. I can't tell you how many times a cap is just like cemented on and then I had to like either hurt myself or hurt the paint tube trying to unscrew it. Let's try some marigold. Marigold, which is basically like orange. Because the yellow I have out is just, it's too yellow. Too green yellow. For like the warm soil I'm going for here. It's probably somewhere in between burnt sienna and marigold. Actually, no. What was the... It was raw sienna. There was like a tan one I brought out. It wasn't raw umber. I think it was raw sienna. Which is, yeah, it's basically like a darker version of Naples yellow. Yeah, I'm starting to remember the names. There's so many different names of color when you start getting into the premix. And then like, there's a lot of crossovers between brands where like one will have a different name but it's the same color as the other brand. Someone else won the Switch on a Kick Facebook stream that I watch all the time. I cannot donate to the channel too poor, so the guy who won wins all the time. He already had a Switch. I have no gaming system, and the guy and I have a similar health issues with light intestines. He told the streamer to send the prize to me so I could play the games with people. Wow, that was really nice of him. Holy crap, that's crazy. Changed my life. I haven't played games in 39 years. Atari Original was my last system. Wow. Going from Atari to Switch, that's a big old jump. That's like going from horse and carriage to like iPhone. Horse and carriage to like SpaceX rocket. Switch is awesome these days too. Like my buddy was showing how like it has all the different, it's pretty much, they're all like computers now. They have like web browsers and all the games are online now, so you can download them right to the Switch. The days of cartridge gaming is over. Oh, is that a snore from Marcy? Yeah, I just heard that too. She's adorable. Alright, now I want a slightly brighter soil color here. Mud, soil, dirt, gravel, sediment, whatever you want to call it. It was crazy, it made me cry. I mean, that's fair. It's cry-worthy. That's really sweet of whoever that guy is. It's awesome. And why do you need two switches anyway, right? Two joysticks, 3D, all the buttons and triggers. Yeah, those things are crazy. I'm pretty sure they plug into like you can plug them into a bigger TV, just like and they turn it. They kind of morph into a game console, and then the controllers come off the side, and you can hold them sideways and do 2-player or something. I think it's been a hot minute since my buddy Sean was showing me, but I'm pretty sure we had like they're like Transformers. This is probably the same brightness. Yeah, needs to be a little brighter. Let's just go with the white. Gray it out. Now the thing is, this should be a dry brush right now, because it's going to be hard to make these highlights soft. But one way you can work around that is just dabbing it off with your finger quick. Not the whole thing, just the tail end of it. And we can create a little feather effect. Trying to leave a bit of the texture in there too. Oh my god, I stopped gaming when it got more complicated than a roller ball. A joystick and 2 buttons. Yeah, were you into Street Fighter? Yes, I always had a Street Fighter Switch. I use it as a handheld when wrestling. That's dope. How's the battery life on the thing? Like if you're like full send Fortnite session, like how long would it last? What would you say? Because that's always important to me. Like that's definitely a problem that's been with those like handheld things for a while, is like the battery life kind of sucks. Alright, I'm gonna steal some of this white here and bring it over to this rock color that was here, somewhere over here. And this is the best part about this medium, is you can reactivate everything. I want it to be a little more blue-gray, so we just reactivate this random blue on my palette. Actually, it needs a bit more red. I'm gonna grab some cadmium red watercolor, because again, I'm trying to be minimal with how much gouache. Let's get stuck on me brush. That made me think about Mr. Krabs for no reason. Got stuck on me brush, SpongeBob! That just, my brain will just like side tangent, like you wouldn't believe. Kenny Marks, what's up, brother? Glad to see you here. Just chipping away, getting there. Foreground takes the longest, you know how it is. Battery life is around 2 hours. 2 hours of playing an online game, more if it's a downloaded game, right, because of the Wi-Fi. That's pretty good. I mean, that ain't amazing, but it's good. Like, granted that it's like you literally get to play full AAA games on it. It's not like cheese games, you know? They're like legit. Yeah, just grab some of that burnt sienna. Get some rock highlights going on. They have to be distinct though from the dirt color. That's the problem. Well, it's not a problem I have, it's the problem to solve when in this scenario. And probably didn't mix it bright enough, but if that happens, don't worry, because it's better that you have I like to go 3 shades or more on an object, depending on how big or small they are. So what I mean by that is like 3 shades of value. If you're trying to go more graphic, 2 shades and more is a good rule of thumb. A lot of people say, a lot of good artists will say 4 shades or more, no less than 4. And the more you increase that, the more realistic it'll look, basically. Because you have more of a gradient and more color variation. And the direct sunlight has to match the brightness of the direct sunlight on those rocks right there, so. If anything, we can call what I just put on it the mid-tone. Actually, I have to get more white out of the tube for this. I've been playing Fortnite Lego with an 8-year-old and some regular Fortnite with young teens. It has cheered me up. That's awesome. I mean, at the advent of online gaming was, I would say, I attribute the invention of online gaming to like the kickoff of my supreme addiction to video gaming in general. I remember the first online game I ever played was Warcraft 3. And then shortly after that, World of Warcraft. And I was forever changed. Because it's just, I mean, come on, it's just so cool. Play with other people. Not just computers. And you know, granted, these days, like back then, it was more, oh no, I'm sorry, I lied. So it was a game before that, RuneScape. It was RuneScape, then Warcraft 3, then World of Warcraft in that order. And RuneScape was a super OG. It's still around, by the way. You can still play the old version of it. But that's like OG RPG stuff right there. But yeah, good times. Hours and hours. I don't even want to know the number. Yeah, turns out burnt sienna whitened is like the exact color I need. That's another fun thing about the premixes is sometimes when you desaturate them from their pure form, they randomly go right where you need them sometimes. Because like technically the color I do need right now is like blue and red with a little bit of white, so. And like the tiniest tints of yellow. The ratios are often set up that way too, I'm discovering. It's never like an equal part of all of them. It's usually like a majority of one and a middle amount of another and then a small amount of, very small amount of the one, the least one. Still not bright enough. I'm just being shy with the white. So glad you're, oops, I missed that one. Let me go back. I downloaded Dead by Daylight and I'm playing with NPCs until I learn it. So excited. The NPCs are better these days. The AI in games are way better in like game characters. So glad you're streaming out again. Me too. Me too. I like that it like puts me on a sort of like a regiment for like pushing ahead on my art too. It feels good to be back. I've looked forward to it. And I think if I'm doing it correctly this time. I think I burnt myself out before because I was trying to figure out what to do. So we were just going hard and trying things, and feels better to be more controlled with it. And actually, the every other day thing is very nice. It's been a challenge figuring out how to wrap it into my life to where I'm keeping things in balance. I enjoy watching you make colors. Yeah, I actually, before you get on today, I added the palette camera on stream because I forgot to add it before I started it. And like I was saying, I realized I'm on the palette for 2 minutes sometimes just talking about colors. Hey, what's up, man? Long time no see. You got any burnt umber in there? Yeah, dude, I got all the burnt umber you need. I got loads of burnt umber, bro. There you go. That one's for you. Just for you, buddy. Some burnt umber. How you been, brother? Y'all still streaming? I haven't seen trying to remember her screen name. Man, it's been so long since I've seen her in chat. I'm drawing a blank. Gotta remind me. You still in Rhode Island, brother? I just saw Ed recently. We went and played some frisbee. It was fucking wicked fun. Nothing like some good old catch, you know? Little Fern, thank you, yeah. That's what I was trying to remember. I knew it was a plant. I just didn't want to guess and say like tiny artichoke or some shit, you know what I mean? I know it was an artichoke, but but dude, a good old game of catch the frisbee in the field, man. I've been super into frisbee golf too. That shit's awesome, but nothing like just fucking whipping a disc, you know? We are in Connecticut getting married next week. Oh, congrats, guys. Sealing the deal, eh? That's awesome. Are you guys doing like a crazy wedding that costs $9 million, or are you being like low key about it? Nice. Hell yeah. Pajamas and backyard wedding. Let's go. No one has to buy suits. No, cosplay wedding. Everyone has to come in a cosplay. I'm coming as Goku. The orange tank top and everything. I'm just gonna shoot fireballs at people all wedding. I was like randomly power up in the middle of the ceremony. Super Saiyan 2. SSJ. SSJ 2. Dude, definitely. The gold spiky hair. I wish I could make it, but I'm probably not going to be able to, unfortunately. Is it going to be at the house in Penn Estates? No, you said you live in Connecticut. In your backyard, yeah. My memory is just always attached to Penn Estates when I think about you. And like the epic days of the flukes playing at your house. And just like 75 kids running around in the woods and getting in trouble. Hey, what's going on, Sophia? Good to see you here, sis. Appreciate it, appreciate it. We're drawing some Betty Netches, or Bull Netches. But yeah, for those of you that are like back and we haven't seen each other in a while, just so you know, I'm streaming every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday now. From 5 to 7 is the goal. You know, sometimes I may start a half hour early like today. But that's what I'm aiming for. That's the new schedule for now. And see how that goes for a couple weeks. Trying to be back at it. Trying to decide how I want to make like pre-edited videos too. Just not sure there yet. I don't know how to keep up with shorts, man. Like, the amount they want you to upload is just incredible. I just feel like I'm content farming when I try to do shorts. It's like, oh, here's a tiny clip of something that I did earlier. But that's why I don't want to do that. I'd rather make them their own thing. Like, quick art tip. Did you know what 2-point perspective is? But there's like 900 of those. So I gotta make it my own thing. These rocks will not brighten to my desire. Oh, there we go. Getting there. Almost. Maybe there's a little piece of light right there. And then it hits the side right there a little bit. Yeah. It comes down the side of the rock. There we go. Man, this brush is already going. The thicker the paint you use, the faster the brush gets destroyed. Quick, dude, no, that's brilliant, dude. Just every single one is troll. Like all the other art content's like wicked, like wholesome and meaningful, and all from the bottom of my heart. And then just the shorts are like complete trolls. Quick art tip. Put burnt umber in everything. It's like totally not true. Brilliant. I think that's what I have to do. Just get the whole art community mad for spreading misinformation about art tips. It's all 1-point perspective. All these people out here saying it's 5, 4, nope. Bunch of bullshit. It's just one. That's all you need to know. You draw a fucking hallway, you're done. Oh, shit. That's funny. I'm always tempted. See, the thing is, I grew up making comedy skits online. That was like one of my first forms of content, so I'm always pulled to troll. Just a little. Oh, man. I'm not using burnt umber right now, but I'm using burnt sienna. What do you know? How to draw a too bad tomato head. Wicked sad tomato head. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut inside joke right there. I think only Matt's gonna get that one. As long as it's burnt. Or no, you just put the you put like umber on the paper and then you literally just like burn it with a blowtorch. Always burn your umber. Never paint with umber without burning it. Properly crisp. Just like destroy the whole painting. There we go. See? And that's how you shade bark on a tree. It always just start. Everyone just starts with first take your burnt umber, and then burn it. Oh shit! You gave me the laughs on that one, dude. That's too much. Cause my brain just starts iterating on it. Oh fuck! That's too good, man. So troll. But believe it or not, that would end up being like my best content. That shit would blow up. Gotta figure out one way to grab their attention. Maybe one little bit right here on this rock. Here we go. I feel like they look like they're getting hit by the sun a little bit more now. I'm just gonna go fucking pure white. I don't care anymore. Tired of it not being bright. This one I want it to be brighter. There we go. I guess the red is still in it so slightly. There we go. Sunny dirt spot. Well, on that last shiny rock, I'm gonna have to call it. We've hit our 2-hour mark. 2 hours and 8 minutes. That's a perfect amount of time of streaming for me. And you know, on the days where I don't have as much responsibility, I can go an hour longer here and there. But yeah. Thank you all for hanging out. It was good to see a couple of the OGs in here, man. Good to see you, Matt. Good to see you, Kate. Remember, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, 5 to 7 is the goal. Troll art content would be fantastic. The art community is so serious. They can be. I mean, there's some great troll art influencers that they do it real funny and like they're pretty popular. But yeah, no, they get pretty snobby about the details. I've seen it. Burnt umber misinformation. Go to Umbria, dig some dirt, then burn it over a campfire to make the perfect. Yeah, exactly. Hey, thank you for the sub. I really appreciate that. Prime sub. Wow. You're the best. Thanks so much, little friend. Glad to see you lurking there in the background. Glad to catch you too, man. Again, congratulations, guys. That's sick. Like, I wish I could make it, but I'll be there in spirit as Goku. Remember. But yeah, that's awesome. I hope you guys have an amazing wedding, amazing backyard chill wedding. I saw you alert on my phone. Good to know the bells work. Anyway, good to see you, Steph. I don't know if you're still here, Kenny. Good to see you, Kenny. Good to see you, sis. And much love to you all. I'll see you on Saturday at 5 o'clock. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. And like and subscribe, because they say if I say that, apparently there's a lot of statistics saying that you're more likely to go like and subscribe. So yeah. Hey, it's last second, man. I'm just about to get off. Can I go as Mr. Popo? Yeah, it has to be just DBZ cast. You can only pick from the DBZ cast. But let's play some Arena tonight. Or Path to Exile. Alright guys, have a good night. Peace out. Thank you for watching.